Hey there everyone, Atesh here, back again with another video, and let me tell you something interesting. A good few years ago, I used to teach bootcamps on iOS and the web as well. And in all of these bootcamps, I used to use a technology, a platform known as Parse. Parse was a platform which was given to us by Facebook, just like it has given us the React. Now, Parse was and is a platform as a service, so it takes care of everything in the backend, from registering the user, the database, the push notification, and you're thinking it's almost like a Firebase. Yes, it was, but before Firebase. Now, it was such a fantastic tool that it took care of everything in the backend service, registering the user, the database, the push notification, and pretty much anything that you want. I have taught so many users about the web and the iOS in that, and so many of my students have actually pulled up an entire startup just with the Parse platform. You don't have to manage the platform or the backend. You simply can rely on the Facebook on hosting it, and everything was fantastic. We all loved it. Until one day. One day, the Facebook team got up and realized that, hey, we don't want to manage this project and we don't want to work anymore in the Parse itself. What they did is simply push the notification that we are no longer maintaining this platform, we are making it open source, so just you do whatever you like to do. Now, for a basic dummy application or something, it is fine, but for all those startups who are actually relying on this, moving entirety of the database into your own AWS or Google Cloud and then keep on maintaining this project it's not very reliable, it's not feasible. It's kind of a nightmare situation for a lot of startups. Now, during this time, Firebase got a lot of attention. It is a Google product, it is much more reliable, and almost everybody moved and shifted towards the Firebase. But till this date, back of my mind, there is something that Google is also notoriously known for shutting down the project. Although Firebase is pretty huge, getting a lot of attention, but you know what? Parse was at the same point at one point of time. Tomorrow, if Google decides that they no longer want to maintain this project, what's going to happen after that? Now, obviously, I'm not the alone who is thinking like that. We surely use Firebase in a lot of projects, but I would love to have something which is open source, I can host it on my own, is built by the community, and there is a team of dedicated developers who are constantly maintaining it and running it as a project. And luckily, as a developer, whenever we see any problem, we just move into building a solution, a product around it. And today, we're going to discuss one such project, which is absolutely fantastic. It's in the very initial days, it's open source, and you're going to absolutely love it. AppWrite is an amazing project, and you can simply visit appwrite.io to check out it. It's a completely open source, secure backend project, and you can deploy it anywhere on your any favorite cloud, whether it is AWS, DigitalOcean, Google Cloud, or pretty much anything that you can have, or if you have even your own servers, you can deploy it there. It's totally open source, and it's a backend, fledged backend that you can be integrated with Flutter, React, React Native, anything that you have. It's just a full-fledged backend. Now, this project is well maintained. It is getting a lot of attention in the community. There are a lot of contributors in that, and you can call this project simply as 100% open source alternative for Firebase. Now, the obvious first question is, are all the Firebase features available in this project? Now, I don't think this is a fair question. Comparing a project which has been polished for over the years and comparing the version 1 of any project is not a good idea. So obviously not all the Firebase features are there, but this is a project which is actively being maintained and is open source. So it has basic features. We have authentication, database, and basic things that we have. But there are a lot of things that I have requested and even community has requested, and they are constantly working on it. So yes, you can say that not everything is there from the Firebase, but eventually they are going to be there. This project is almost like in version 1. Okay, so now enough of the talk. Let me walk you through with a simple walkthrough of how AppWrite works and how you can put it onto DigitalOcean. We're going to deploy it with a simple and easy step. We're going to put up a $5 machine on DigitalOcean. We'll see that how it looks like in the production and what are all the features that you get with AppWrite. Let me walk you through with the AppWrite, and it's just not a basic walkthrough. It's a production level walkthrough. So we're going to be putting up this AppWrite into the production from the very start, and then I'll walk you through that what are the features I absolutely love and what are the features I would love to see to come in the upcoming days. And again, this is almost like a Firebase, but with the version 1 and of course with the open source power. Let me walk you through with that. So the step 1 is to simply go to appwrite.io and turn the dark mode on, because why not? Once you're up here, you can see that there's a lot going on in here, but one thing I specifically have noticed that it says secure open source backend server for web, mobile, and Flutter developers. So I don't know a specific reason that why they are focusing so much on the Flutter in the headlines itself, because It's a full-fledged backend. It's just not for Flutter specific. It can be absolutely good for Angular, for React Native, even anything that you put it on. It's a full-fledged backend. Now, moving on, they simply are saying that very soon the cloud version is also coming up. So it's going to be almost like Firebase into the servers itself, but also you can host it. It is an open source product. Now, one thing that I have found a little bit missing in the documentation section is the search bar. I would love to have a global indexing search on the documentation, because sometimes you don't want to read the entire documentation. You want to do certain things which are just there, search it, get it done, and just get out of here. Anyways, not complaining too much up here. The installation is pretty simple. You can just click on the installation. And there are a lot of ways how the installation works, but I am pretty much big fan that how they have taken down the installation section up here. You can see there is installation directly from the Docker. So that means there is a guarantee that it is going to work exactly same as in your machine as well as in the servers. What I did is not a local installation. I went a little bit ahead up here, and there are one-click setups. So you can deploy it directly onto the DigitalOcean or the Git pod as well. I went with a DigitalOcean, so you can just click up here. And DigitalOcean has a marketplace feature where these apps or similar kind of application or project can be hosted directly just one click. What it does in behind the scene is it takes the Docker image, deploy it on a container or a simple Ubuntu instance or whatever instance you ask for it, and that's it, you're all done. So I created a droplet just like that. Simply took us just a $5 machine to test it out. And this is what I get, all the details and everything. And I'm a big fan of this because if I want to scale up my server, I don't have to pay any cost to anybody else. I can spin up my machines on my own, $5 to $15, or I can scale it vertically or horizontally, whatever suits to me. So that is the big, amazing thing about it. Okay, how does it look like once it is deployed? So this is the deployed version of it. Obviously, it is going to ask you to sign up. The first user that you create, that is going to be your kind of a God mode or super user that you are having, basically the admin part of it. Here also, you can just simply click up here and change the theme to the dark mode, because why not? But I think the light mode is looking pretty fantastic here. But anyways, I know you are a big fan of dark mode too. Now, the first thing that you have to do here is simply create a project. And yes, this YouTube project was a test project before recording this video. So we have a project ID auto-generated as well, but you can just go ahead and change this one as well. So we're going to call this one as YouTube V2 simply. And the name is going to be my tube. Maybe you're designing a YouTube clone or maybe something else like that. So simply like that, you just go ahead and click on create. And this is where the magic starts. It is your own Firebase. Of course, there are some features I would want that it comes up later on, but this is what it is. Okay, the first thing that I am a big fan is there is the API keys and the webhooks. And just let me show you this. Once you click on the API keys, and you can add an API keys, but not just entire API keys, you can restrict the permissions based on what scope you want to give to certain users. Maybe you want to allow the user in the app that they cannot post, just want to read. Maybe that's your use case. Or maybe on the web, you just want user to post, not to read. Maybe that's the use case. So all these things can be controlled from here as well. That is absolutely fantastic. Out of the box, they have a webhooks as well, which is of course required these days in everything that we do. Couple of interesting things that I absolutely am enjoying here while deployed in the first version, which is users. So here is the users and all of this are coming. So you can just go ahead and add any users up here, and there are settings that how a user should be added up. Let me show you the settings. So you can enable email and password. Of course, everybody can do that, but there's also a magic URL. Now, magic URL is a great feature. In case you have used our blogs in the hash node, they use the similar thing in which you don't have to remember any password at all. You just ask that send me a magic URL link in the email. You click on that. That's it. You are logged in. No password is being set anywhere. This is one of the fantastic way and the way how it should be moving forward in the future. Of course, apart from this, in case you want to enable LinkedIn login, just click on that, add your API, app ID and app secret, and that's it. You are done. So, and again, good thing is with the deployed version, it just automatically detects your URL and everything. So you don't have to do anything at all. So this is the basics, and there are pretty much a lot of usage and all of that. Now, compared to the third-party services, which actually charge you based on certain number of users, in the production, you really want to take care of that. How much is the cost that is coming up when the number of users are increasing? In case of Firebase, they are pretty generous on that, but having something on your own, and you don't have to use something like Auth0 or something because they charge based on the user, it's a pretty affordable solution that is going in. Now, apart from that, we have a database as well. So you can go ahead and create a collection of the database. And that is pretty fun. You can just go ahead and simply say, hey, this is my test collection, create that. And now this is a create the test collection that you have created. It is going to store everything as a JSON, but it's not JSON. It's not a NoSQL database. That is the good thing. So you can add as many attributes as you like. String type of data attributes, or the IP type of attributes, or a Boolean values, float. So pretty much any field that you can possibly want to use in a SQL database or a NoSQL database, that is available. For example, if you want to have a name, email, password, field, whatever you want to have, you can change the size, required, just toggle it on or off. And there's an array as well. So yeah, there is a lot that you can go ahead, and I can just simply say that and create that. And similarly, you can structure, or you can put an entire schema of the database just right up here. They have the indexes as well, so you can add your indexes, that whatever is your index through which you want to search in the database, key value pairs or something, you can add as many as you like. Okay, and surely you can track your activities and all of that up here. And you can get the entire users who are logged into your application just right up here. Now, the good thing is there are functions as well. So what you can do is you can write your entirety of the backend and customization of backend just right here. You don't need anything else. You can just have a React application, this backend, that's it, all done. You can add your functions, and they provide 4 of the supports: Node.js, PHP, Ruby, and Python. I'm pretty sure more are coming in the future, maybe Java or something, but I think with the Node.js, they have done enough for me, so I'm pretty much happy on that part. Okay, we have webhooks and API, which we have already discussed. Now, a couple of things I would love to see more in the future. The first one is in-app notification. Now, one of the reasons why I use Firebase a lot, in fact, in a lot of projects, is because they provide unlimited push notification. And if I have this push notification service right in my server as an open source and I can host it, wow, that is amazing. I would have not to look for anything else in the future. I have also read in their documentation and their roadmap plans that they are looking up and going into the direction of GraphQL. A big plus on that. We have recently realized that how powerful the GraphQL can be, especially in the admin side and the graph side. I'll discuss that later on in one of the videos. So that's basically it. You can see that how easy it is to deploy and run everything in that. Now, in case you want to go with a little bit more, you can read the documentation. For example, we have the REST API for the accounts and for the user. So there's a client side, there is even server side available to us, but server side has already done a lot for us. In case you want to do something more, you can go ahead and do that. So there's a lot that you can, how you can update the account, create password recovery, create email verification. Just click on that. Here is a simple, tiny bit of code that you can just put it and just get it up and running. So yes, documentation is pretty good, pretty rock solid. I loved it. Now, coming up onto the point. Would you like to see an application which we have designed using the same backend in the app right and having a React in the front end and this app right in the backend? Maybe we can have a small tutorial about how authentication system works. If you're interested in having that, let me know in the comment section. I would love to make that. Now, in case you want me to build a React tutorial with app right as a backend, React as a frontend, let me know in the comment section. Share this video and like this video. If we get enough of the likes and attention on this video, I would love to make a video with React and app right as a backend. Let's get these open source projects some reach by sharing this video, and definitely go ahead, try out app right, and I'm going to surely catch you up in the next video.